I speak with Warren Sapp directly. Haters will be blocked. This video was based off official police records. If you participated in the drug, prison, sex scandals and don't want to be embarrassed in my upcoming series, email me here. I will allow you to be an informant so you can save your dignity. Once again, I want to take a moment of silence before I reveal this information.
You won't answer the question if you swore an oath to the U.S. Constitution.
I am answering you repeatedly, and it's going to be the same time every time you ask it.
No, I didn't hear your answer to, did you swear an oath to the U.S. Constitution?
I don't have to answer that. I don't have to answer that.
Oh, thank you.
On research, sir. All right, good talk.
I'm not an official guy. Not an official guy.
Okeechobee law enforcement has a long history of drug use. Most are unaware because it's kept secret by their leaders in charge. Majority of the citizens have no clue about Judge Wallace' morphine hustle. I'm going to review text message proof that Sheriff Stevens read himself. He's known about it for years and never addressed the situation.
From Miss Chandler to Mr. Wallace, yes, I love that morphine. What does that refer to, if you know?
Have no clue.
Huh?
Have no clue.
What is morphine?
Form? A drug? That's a better question for the doc than me.
Okay, but as a law enforcement officer, you've dealt with morphine before, I assume.
Form?
Have you?
I haven't dealt with it, but yeah, it's something we arrest people for.
Okay, that's what I meant. So you're familiar that it's a scheduled drug that's illegal.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, you're completely against people having drugs like that, right?
Form?
Not completely against. I mean, there's people that have to have it.
Morphine?
Yes, sir.
You sure about that?
Doc?
If they're prescribed it, but yeah, okay. Go on.
Okay. What about people who have it without a prescription?
Form?
Then that's illegal.
There's a reference in this page as well to a music fest. Do you see that?
Okay.
In the middle of the page, there's a conversation between her and Mr. Wallace. This year at Music Fest got you some more of that morphine.
Okay.
Also going to make certain my phone is fully charged. Get video will be there. Okay. Now, is there a morphine problem at the Music Fest?
Form?
You know, those, that's a 40,000 kids on 600 acres for 4 days. So there's probably every drug known to man and aliens that's there. I suspend my random drug test because there's so much marijuana smell and smoke that my folks will not pass the test.
I'm not surprised Noel ignores Judge Wallace handing out morphine. This isn't his first time allowing drug use within the department. While he was working under former Sheriff Paul May, he married his daughter Vanessa. Her sister Shannon was a teacher at Everglades Elementary School. In 2015, she was caught trading naked pictures in exchange for pills at school with another teacher. The sheriff's department was notified but covered the entire situation up. Superintendent Kenworthy called Under Sheriff Stephen 3 times and discussed the incident. Noel said no laws were violated and he never received an official complaint. He said he received a phone call, but it wasn't an official complaint. These were Under Sheriff Stevens' exact words. You know there's a difference between a real complaint and a conversation via cell phone while on the golf course or relaxing in the yard. Besides, these were 2 business professionals involved with prescription drugs. They were not controlled substances. It's not like it was cocaine or anything. It has nothing to do with who she is. Shannon admitted to sending 3 sets of nudes on school property. In exchange, she received hundreds of pills over the course of 2 years. Sheriff Stevens has had 3 marriages in total. I explained earlier he married former Sheriff Paul May's daughter. Many people don't know he married former Sheriff Rollerson's daughter as well.
And who are you currently married to?
Vanessa.
Same last name?
Correct.
Okay. And is Vanessa related to a prior sheriff of Okeechobee County?
Correct.
Who would that be?
Paul May.
And prior to you being married to Vanessa, who were you married to?
Lori.
What was her last name?
Rollerson Stephen.
And was she related to the former Sheriff Rollerson?
Correct.
Sheriff Stevens has been lying his entire career. I've already exposed the $26 million lawsuit he lost in my previous videos. He was engaged to his ex-wife, Vanessa, while sending sexual messages on his work-issue phone.
It's a question, can you talk? And it's to a phone number 863-634-0650. Are you familiar with that phone number?
Yes, sir.
Is that your cell phone?
Yes, sir.
And is that the cell phone you've had since that time back in 2017?
Yes, sir.
Same cell phone number?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that a cell phone that paid for by the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
So it's subject to public records
Yes, sir.
request? Okay. And then you texted her on August 20th, 2019, you sunbathing naked again? Why did you ask her that question?
Flirtatious Texas.
See my recent videos regarding this lawsuit. It's related to new information I have to share. He took no accountability for his affairs and said he was dragged into drama.
And with Miss Chandler, you've learned through your text messages that she's wanting you to get involved in drama. That's how you explain it.
Forum.
She's one of them
When you say one of them, what does them mean?
that always has drama.
Okay. But drama in the sense of legitimate drama, or drama in the sense of...
Don't care whether it's legitimate or not. Don't drag me in the middle of it. And I so often get drug in people's drama quite frequently.
Okay.
Sheriff said he keeps his affairs separate from work and doesn't mix the two together.
When the sheriff hat goes on and the flirting guy hat comes off, there's a distinct difference, counselor.
How do we know when the two hats are on or off?
Forum.
Based on the verbiage in the text message, I think it tells the tale.
So you're saying that in this text message, you got your sheriff's hat on.
I think that's a fair assumption, correct?
Sheriff still hasn't taken accountability for anything and blames Teresa for their affair.
The text messages revealed in this lawsuit upset my girlfriend at the time I was dating, who is now my wife. And we, as we are today, struggling with my improper text messages that we are dealing with personally.
Okay.
And I felt at that time that my local knowledge of me running for sheriff may not happen because of my marriage being more important to me than my chair as sheriff. My wife had reviewed those text messages.
He's on his third marriage and is ruining the sheriff's department with his relationship problems. In my recent video, I highlighted the authority he gave his wife. He said she has the power of sheriff and can arrest people herself.
At some point, decide to run for sheriff again?
Correct.
Okay.
We did. Let me correct myself. We did.
Who's we?
My wife and I.
Okay. But you're the one running.
My wife is running as well as I do, sir.
Right, but she's not running for sheriff.
She is running for sheriff. In a rural county, she is just as much the sheriff as I am. She shares me with the community way more than you have any clue.
Was that the situation with your prior wife?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened? Did you?
And there's another one in there too. This job takes so much of my time, and I'm on my third marriage, understanding these text messages were wrong when we were dating.
His relationship with Teresa wasn't his only affair on the job. He also slept with a younger deputy's wife. Her name was Jill Rogers, and she committed suicide in 2015. I briefly spoke on this last week, but I want to take a deep dive into her case with y'all tonight. She was married to Adrian Rogers, who worked with Noel at the sheriff's department. He works in the road patrol division, primarily monitoring on a motorcycle. Noel wasn't sheriff yet and was still second in command under Paul May. Last week, I explained how Jill was executive director of communities in schools.
Communities in Schools is a national nonprofit. We've been doing this work now for 45 years, and we are in 26 states all across the country. That translates into 3,000 schools, serving 1.6 million students.
CIS is a nonprofit organization, and Sheriff Stevens was on the leadership board. He said the IRS notified them about payroll taxes not being paid. Jill was in charge of tax money, and Noel said she was going to correct the problem. He said the IRS called them for a meeting that was scheduled for August 31st, 2015. Jill killed herself the day prior, while she was scheduled to meet Sheriff and other board members. In my last video, I explained how Sheriff found her dead body. Noel said he became nervous when Jill never arrived for their meeting. He said he called and she told him take care of her family, and she's got to go. Her husband Adrian said he didn't know about her debt and tried to get in touch with her after Sheriff told him what's going on. Noel pinged her car, and it was near US 98 and Buckhorn Road. He stated after searching the area, He saw Jill Rogers' black Chrysler on a road off US 98. He was with her best friend, Amanda Blewett. Amanda actually married Jill's husband shortly after she allegedly committed suicide. Sheriff said when they initially found the car, both of the doors were closed. He stated Amanda opened the driver and passenger door and observed a holster inside. He told her to return to the patrol car, and that's when he saw Jill dead on the ground. Noel said he walked over, checked for a pulse, and she was cold to the touch and deceased. He also stated he didn't see a gunshot wound when he checked her pulse. I find that interesting considering she died from a gunshot wound to the chest. A Highland County deputy stated in his report as he approached the car, he observed a female on her back with a gunshot wound at the chest. The upper half of her body was in the dirt, while her midsection was on a concrete slab. There was a cell phone in a black case found next to the victim's left hip. Sheriff Stevens actually gave Jill this phone for their affair, and it was registered under his wife's family plan. Just 2 days after she passed, he illegally took it from evidence. A black .40 caliber Glock 27 was approximately 6 to 8 feet away from her body, with a shell casing next to her feet. The bullet was found lodged in her backbone. The location of the blood that came out of her body was consistent with the gunshot. This means her body most likely wasn't moved after the bleeding started. I wonder how Sheriff didn't notice the gunshot wound if he came close enough to check her pulse. Lieutenant Hood located another shell casing approximately 10 to 12 feet south of Jill's car. The only tire tracks located in the area led directly to Jill's parked vehicle. I'm not implying Sheriff killed Jill, but there is some more questions to be answered. There was definitely some information on her phone that he wanted to get rid of. I highly doubt he's ever been questioned because he's above the law. Every time someone confronts him, he claims they're badgering him.
I have no opinion on what was done and not done. You know, once again, all this information is turned in to the detectives, to the prosecutors. It's their responsibility and obligation to review the documents. Okay. I haven't been asked to review anything, nor am I prepared to review anything or give you my opinion at this point.
Well, the question is, you're the sheriff, right? And you have a deputy underneath you that you assign to this case at some point.
Okay.
Okay. That deputy has a duty and obligation to look at all the evidence.
Correct.
So I'm asking you, as the sheriff, looking at this evidence, does it cause you any concern?
I'm not prepared, once again, to give you my opinion hastily while we sit here today, you know, in this badgering that I'm receiving, sir.
Okay.
So if you got a complaint against the case officer, then there's a step and a process to do so. And it will be evaluated at that point, sir, if you let me finish, sir, out of respect.
We're in the middle of a lawsuit against your office.
I understand, but I am speaking, and there is respect to be had here, Counselor.
Go ahead. Say whatever you want to say.
I'm done.
Okay.
His defensive attitude is what caused this in the first place. He obviously knew his deputies messed up by illegally arresting Warren. All he had to do was drop his pride and discipline his officers properly. Instead, we all saw him hang up on Warren and kick him out of the sheriff's office.
There's a proper time and a place, Warren, for you to deal with that and ask your questions, rightfully so, for your due process and your constitutional right. When that officer is doing a traffic stop, that is not the time. You're a professional. When you were on the field doing your job, nobody interjected with you in your job. Correct? So there is a right time. If they want to ask you a question, then that's rightfully so.
So your officer,
when that officer is doing the traffic stop, you do not impede on that investigation. Even if they're wrong, you don't question them on the side of the road. That is not the proper time nor the place.
That's what you're going with?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm going with. So you have a good morning. Take care.
So what do I do with my chart? Oh, okay. Here we go.
In my last video, I explained how Internal Affairs also ignored Warren's complaint against the officers. Sergeant Pickering denied his constitutional right and needs to be stripped of duty immediately.
Yes, I would like to know how do I go about filing a complaint on an officer, please.
Okay. Sheriff's Office at lunch.
Yes, I would like to know how I file a complaint on an officer, please.
Yeah, you'll need to come to the sheriff's office.
I got one of your complaint forms and it says by phone.
Did you? I'm sorry, you said you have a form?
And it says by phone.
Okay, one moment, please. I'll see if I can find you a lieutenant.
Thank you. Sergeant Pickering, good morning.
Morning.
You're with Internal Affairs, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to file an official complaint on a couple officers, please.
All right. I need you to come up here and get some paperwork. What you got going on?
What paperwork are you speaking of?
Well, we have paperwork up here that we have people. It's called a citizen against an employee complaint affidavit.
I have one of those, and it has right at the in the middle of it by phone, and I would like to do it by phone because your office is more than 100 miles away from me. Are you prepared to take my complaint, sir?
Yep. Give me just a minute.
All right. All right.
So you're 100 miles from here? Where are you at?
I said more than 100.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Who's it complaining against?
Couple officers. Officer 696, I think it's Canarak. How you pronounce that? And
okay.
Was that correct, Canarak?
I think that's how you say it. Yes, sir.
All right. 588 Solante.
Okay.
734 Coon Fair. Your Sergeant Ellis 290.
Okay.
That's the officers. That's your
Okay.
deputy sheriff. Deputy sheriffs.
Huh?
That's your deputy sheriffs. I'm sorry, not officers. Deputy sheriffs.
And what's your name?
Warren Sapp.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
We ready?
No, I've got who you are. Our lawyers will be in touch with you.
I don't understand what you're talking about. This is a citizen making a complaint, or officers.
That's right.
Hold on. Can I finish with what I'm asking, and then you can go ahead?
Excuse me, sir. I already know about your complaint. I already know about everything that went on.
When did I file my official complaint? When did I file my official complaint, sir? Are you kidding me? You hang up the phone?
Internal affairs is separate from the police and is supposed to keep them in check. In Okeechobee, they're connected and there's nobody to oversee the sheriff. Without a real internal affairs, he basically has free will to do whatever he wants without supervision. Y'all let me know how you feel about this in the comments. How do you feel about Jill dying with a phone registered to sheriff? And why do you think he illegally took it 2 days after she passed? I'm going to show the official police records at the end of the video so you can review them for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for me. Also turn on post notifications so you don't miss any videos. I've got daily news and updates coming every day for you guys. I really appreciate your support to the channel. Sheriff Stevens' account of what happened. Highland County Deputy report after seeing Jill. Proof a .40 caliber Glock 27 was used. Jill's belongings when she died. Proof the cell phone was registered to Sheriff Stevens' family plan. Proof Sheriff Stevens took her phone 2 days after she died.